Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be all about my 2024 riders to watch. We'll start with current pros and then we'll head into Neo pros, so let's get into the video. First off, we've got Fem Van Empel. The Jumbo-Visma rider has dominated her cyclocross season, winning all bar a couple of races. She's got a sprint, she can climb well, we saw that in L'Avenir and Romandy or Switzerland last year. I think this year is going to be a real breakthrough year on the road for her. We're seeing her in the classics, we're seeing her at Flanders, probably Roubaix as well. I think maybe not this year, but certainly in the future, she's got the real ability to be able to take on SD Worx and maybe even beat Lotte Kopecky. Next, we've got SD Worx' Blanca Bash. She, similar to Van Empel, she does cyclocross and she does road. She won the stage of the Giro Donne last year. I think she is going to be really good for SD Worx, not just as a domestique, but I think she'll get some good opportunities of her own in races like Basque Country, maybe something like Trofeo Alfredo Binda. Watch out for her on those punchy races. I think she can really do some damage. In a new role this year, Pfeiffer Georgie, the 23-year-old British national champion. She'll be in a leader role for the classics, a big lead out role for Charlotte Kool in the sprints. But the difference is this year she'll be slightly better, slightly more marked, sorry. So will she be able to cope with that pressure of moving into that favourite category? Someone who's focusing on the road this year a little bit more is Fenix de Koninck's Puck Pieterse. She had a good cyclocross winter, not quite as close to Fem Van Empel as probably should have liked, but I expect a lot from her in the classics in particular. Maybe not this year. I think it's going to take her a few years to build that road engine, but watch out for her at Strade Bianche. Fifth last year. I think she could easily go one better or two better this year. She was in the pros last year, but Zoe Bäckstedt, new Red Bull rider for Canyon SRAM. I expect to see her play a bigger role this year, particularly in the classics. She has a fantastic, brilliant engine, and I expect her to be right up there. Maybe not in Flanders, maybe not in Roubaix, but you've got Ghent Wevelgem. Races of that distance and that sort of difficulty, I think she could really be up there. My final current pros rider to watch for the women is Shirin van Anrooy from Lidl Trek. She's got all-round talent. She's won cyclocross races. She's won the best young riders category at the Tour de France. We don't know what she's going to achieve in her career, but she's got a very bright future across all terrains. I think personally she's got a bit of a Lucinda Brand in her. Maybe a little bit better than Lucinda Brand on the road, however. On to my current male pros to watch for 2024, and the first one is Tom Pidcock. He has gone through a huge change in focus this winter. Gone is the classics and cyclocross. In is the aero wind tunnel, the altitude training camps, and a focus on the Ardennes Classics and the Tour de France next year. I'm not expecting him to blow the world away in the Grand Tours or in the stage races, but I think we could really see some progression in his consistency as a classics rider and as a Grand Tour rider. As long as he eats, he needs to remember to eat. Next up, we've got UAE's Juan Ayuso. Big things were expected to him, and he has sort of delivered, although last year was hampered by a knee injury for the majority of the early part of the year. This year, he's going to do Strade Bianche. He's going to do a lot of more World Tour week-long stage races targeting the GC. And also at the Tour de France with Pogacar going to the Giro, opens up a small window for a little bit of fun. I think UAE should play a bit of a wild, crazy card at the Tour, and Ayuso would fit that perfectly. Plus, he's got the descent, he's got a time trial, be able to compete up there in the GC. Next one is Romain Gregoire. Romain Gregoire is a talented rider. We saw him win Dunkirk. We saw him descending on the Madeleine of Tour l'Avenir a few years ago. Looks like he's going to do the Ardennes and the Tour de France this year, so I cannot wait to see where he is in relation to Pogačar, Evenepoel in the Ardennes Classics, and them, I guess, as well on the punchy Tour de France stages. Ben Healy is the next one. He had a fantastic 23. Stage win at Giro, almost won Amstel, was fourth in Liège. He's going to be a marked card this year, a little bit like Pfeiffer Georgie. So it's whether he can handle that pressure of when he goes, people will follow. Compared to last year when he went, people sort of let him go a little bit more. Ben Turner is another one, sorry. He had a tough year last year, broke his elbow, arm twice at Omloop and Flanders, 2 races we were there. But he's got big classics potential. You don't finish 11th at Roubaix without having a decent amount of potential on the classics. This year, hopefully he can have a consistent classics campaign and we can see where he can go. The final one for the men was a controversial winter move, but it's been sorted for a while now, and it's Kian Brooks to Jumbo-Visma. He's a strong climber, needs to sort his time trial out at Visma. Sorry, he's got the biggest and best opportunity to do that. He's targeting the Giro. Goal is probably podium, top 5. Don't see why he can't do it. Onto the women's neo-pros or riders that have been in the ranks a couple of years and I think will really step up this year. Flora Perkins, 20-year-old rider for Fenix de Koenig. Here you go, Richard. It's one for you. She's been used in all kinds of situations at Le Col and at Fenix de Koenig's Academy. This year I expect them to focus on her climbing a little bit more. That's where she seems to be at her best. She did well at Fletch Wallone the other year as an 18-year-old, so I don't see why that can't be improved on it this year or in the future. Lidl-Trek have got some talented twins on their hands, Isabella and Ava Holgram. We don't know what they can do. They have been brilliant though on the cyclocross field and classics, climbs. Let's find out let's find out. Similarly to the girls there, we've got Lauren Molengrath for FDJ Suez. She's got a bit of an interesting contract with contracts at different teams, and that's great to see for one. At FDJ, let's see what she can do. She's got the build, I think, of a bit of a climber or a puncher, so something in the future like the Ardennes Classics. But this year, I expect her to just learn her craft. Naomi Rugg and Antonia Niedermaier have been in the pro ranks for a couple of years now. Niedermayer's taken a stage win at the Giro Donne. Naomi Rugg's taken some good placings. I expect them both to improve their climbing consistency this year. Maybe pick up some wins, but I think with Niedermaier, she'll be a big help for Nili Adoma at the Tour de France. And Rugg, I think, will get opportunities at breakaways. Finally, another cyclocross rider, 20-year-old Marie Schreiber of SD Works. Another talent, I think she'll be at her best on the climb. She looks like she's got a similar build to Demi Vollering. Climbs, time trials are where I think she'll be at her best. And finally, we're going to take a look at our male riders to watch for 2024. First one is Punchy Climber from EF, 20-year-old Lucas Naruka. Won from a breakaway at the Baby Giro on a very punchy stage. It reminded me a lot of the Napoli stage that Bora ripped to shreds in 2022. Um, I expect him to be up there working for Ben Healy and maybe getting himself leadership role at something like the Tour of Britain if that is to happen next year. Two Irish GC talents as well for EF, Darren Rafferty and Archie Ryan. Darren Rafferty podiumed at the Baby Giro last year. He looks like he's got more all-round GC abilities than Archie. He's younger. I think he's got the better potential. But Archie Ryan looks like he's going to be one hell of a climber. So both of them are going to be interesting to watch this year and in the future. EF again, they've also got a classics rider to look out for in Joe Rutkin Gray. Spent a few years in the lower level British teams, but has really worked his way up. Was great at the under 23 World Championships last year. He's going to do Roubaix this year, so let's see what he can do. EF's team is set up in a more fluid way, so I expect all four of those guys to have a bit of opportunity this year. Three riders for the Ineos Grenadiers. Two of them are Neo Pros this year. One of them was a Neo Pro last year but lost it through injury and illness. The big one is AJ August. The 18-year-old American has been dubbed better than Remco or more powerful than Remco. Let's see. I highly doubt it. I mean, Remco's pretty strong himself, but he looks like he's going to be a real GC card to play for the future. Their other 18-year-old is a little classics rider in Theodore Storm. He helped Albert Philipsen in a big way win the Junior Worlds last year. Let's see how he develops in the classics. I don't know what sort of classics he'd do. Maybe if they do a race like Denane, maybe. But I don't expect to see him in the monuments. Although they did take Tarling to Roubaix last year. And finally, the one that lost pretty much the whole of last season was Leo Hayter. You don't do what he did in his final under 23 year without having some talent. With Liège, the Baby Giro. Hopefully this year he has a consistent year, injury and illness free, and we can really begin to see that talent come through. Quick Steps trio look like they're built for the classics and the sprints. Belgian Gillards won from the breakaway in Baby Giro last year. He looks like he's built to be a classicy rider. And then they've got two sprinty classics riders in Luke Lamperti, the American, and Paul Magnier, the Frenchman. Both of them combined brilliantly to win in Mallorca the other week even. Can't wait to see what the three of them can do as Quick-Step try and reinvigorate their classics unit. Jumbo-Visma duo of Norwegian duo as well. Per Strand Hagenes and Johannes Dalmitier. They provide real opportunities to win races for Norway in the future. Salmitier won the Baby Giro in dominant fashion last year, and Strand Hagenes has already won a few elite pro races, including one he didn't know about, which is great. Hagenes will be a big domestique for Van Aert and Van Baarle in the classics. Stamitier, I hope we get to see him do a Grand Tour. If not, throw him into some big World Tour races. Why not? Antonio Morgado for UAE is the first of the double UAE. I bet you can guess who the last one is. Big climbing talent, big punchy climbing talent. He worked well in Tour Down Under for the other guy. Can't wait to see what he can do in the future. But for me, out of all of them, the biggest talent to come through for 2024, not just because he won a stage and third in Down Under, is Isaac Del Toro. you can count on one hand how many Mexican riders we've had, and to have someone as talented as Isaac Del Toro is, he is potentially going to become one of the biggest GC riders ever. I mean, we saw how good he was on a punchy stage in Down Under. On Wollonga, yeah, he may have struggled a bit, but who knows? He's only 20. He is going to have a big future, I think. And apparently there's other Mexicans coming through as well. Can't wait to hear about them and their journey. Keep a big eye on Isaac Del Toro. I expect him to be challenging at some of the biggest races within 2 years, I'm going to go with. There we go. Thank you very much for watching my long roundup of riders to watch for 2024. Probably covered everyone, but if not, just let me know down below, or let me know who you think out of the current pros are really ones to watch for 2024. Thank you and enjoy the start to the season.